Hey guys, this video is a pre-video for the Affliction 5.4 guide, as I thought it was better to have it on a separate video. Basically, let's focus a bit on multi-dotting with Affliction and how one button can bring you to victory. A fight like Protectors in Siege of Orgrimmar is the obvious boss abusing Soul Swap. Now many may know by now and some may not, so let's go over the Soul Swap extension trick. It's quite simple. All you do is cast a spell between your Soul Swap, so you keep increasing the duration your dots will last. Because if we Soul Swap dots, we have a 3-second window before we need to exhale them again. But when we exhale them on a target, they keep the duration as when we inhaled them. That means your powerful opener dots last for way longer during a fight, which is very important for the opener dots with all procs. It's a must to extend the dots this way, and between every inhale and exhale you can cast one Malefic Grasp tick, a haunt or a life tap when needed. Now that's step 1 and a very easy mechanic to execute once you get comfortable with it. Here's an example of how you can open up on a fight like Protectors. First off, on Multitarget, it's risky to use cooldowns before the first line of dots in case your trinket doesn't proc at the right time. Therefore, I'd advise you to simply just put a dot line without any cooldowns. Cast Malefic Grasp and cancel it after a tick so you can use cooldowns and renew dots again. Start soul swapping dots around to your targets. When you reach the last target, you can cast Haunt if you have enough shards, and then wait or cast Malefic Grasp until you get 10 stack Black Blood trinket. As soon as you have your fully buffed dot line with 10 stack Black Blood, swap it around and start doing the inhale and exhale trick. It's always important that you get as many haunts up as possible. If you get really lucky, you can keep running haunts on all your targets in the opener. But you can also get very unlucky and have no soul shards. This is where the RNG comes in, and it's super annoying factor that you can't control at all. You will see huge difference in your burst depending on whether you get shards or not. Many factors play into this playstyle. Getting Tricks of the Trade on a fight like Protectors on your opener dots can be the difference of 28 million damage from one Tricks. If your guild transitions the bosses at the same time, so you can get a lot of small adds to dot up with your first dot line, that is crucial to reaching those insane numbers you see sometimes. Always remember to instantly swap your dots onto freshly spawned targets instead of delaying between inhale and exhale. As soon as a new target with no dots arrive, you should instantly soul swap. It's far more important to have your dots taken on new targets than keeping up delaying between the inhale and exhale. Now that is the opener part of such scenario. Eventually what will happen is that your Unstable Affliction is the first spell to lose its duration, as it's the shorter duration dot. When you reach that moment when it's fading, you simply hope something has proc so you can put it up with a new buff, but else you just manually renew it when it's about to fade and keep doing the trick as fast as possible to keep your agony lasting for as long as possible. The same thing applies to Corruption, and eventually when agony starts to fade, you hope or maybe had a 10 stack Black Blood to renew them before it faded, so you can run a new dot line with 10 stack Black Blood or any other proc. Now this might give you a picture of how RNG such a fight can be, because not only do you need the perfect tactic to execute the DPS and get lucky with everything, you also need the procs at the moment your dots fade. Having them before is a complete waste and you can't use them for anything. Having them too late means a huge period of bad DPS. You basically keep doing this trick throughout the fight with maybe 4 dot lines or more, which means there are so few moments in the fight you really want something to proc. Rest of the time it can be rather useless. It's not important to pay attention to procs after the opener dots, but when you reach that moment when you're running with the second line of dots, always pay attention if you could make the dots more powerful and soul swap those around. If you're doing these things and still feel your DPS aren't sufficient, there are so many RNG factors at the game right now that it's not always up to you. Tactics, kill timers, RNG on trinket procs, RNG on metagem procs, RNG on all of the above lining up at the same time is just a small portion of the things that can determine your outcome. As long as you're far above the other classes in a fight like Protectors, you're doing okay. But Affliction are too RNG these days to control your DPS with how snapshotting works and soul swap. Now this sort of one button soul swap spam obviously applies to fight like Spoils of Pandaria, Galakras, etc. You can use it as long as there's more than one target and you want to extend a really powerful proc. If an ad spawns, you can always soul swap to the mob, take the dots away and cast Haunt on the boss and then reapply the dots on the boss again. That way you gain more duration of your powerful procs. Obviously if you are doing it with just metagem proc, it's not really worth it if you are about to have Dark Soul and Expanded Mind proc and will override your dots anyway. But keep in mind, especially with opener dots, it's always beneficial to extend your opener dots as long as possible for Affliction, because that's where all our DPS is. Thanks for watching again. Feel free to visit my website for more info, content, and stay tuned soon for World of Draenor beta and exciting things to come. You can follow me on Twitter and Facebook to stay in touch with what I'm up to.